Welcome back to Algebra 1, and we are moving on to our next section here, and we're going to start off with a warm-up. So take a minute, pause the video, and answer these two problems. You're looking to find the names of both of these using the degree and the terms. Okay, so make sure you simplify before you do that. Okay, so with this first one, we end up, if we simplify it down, we'd combine this 8 and that 7, getting us 5x plus 1. That means that we have a linear binomial because there's two terms and it's a single degree. The degree is 1, meaning it's linear. Two terms makes it a binomial. The second one, we would combine that 9 and that 7, getting us 7x cubed plus 2x squared plus 9. Based on the degree, our largest degree is this 3 that's still floating around here, meaning this would be a cubic polynomial. And combined everything down, you get to 3 terms, so that means it's a trinomial. So it'd be a cubic trinomial would be the name of it. Okay. All right, so moving on to section 3 here with algebra, which we are multiplying binomials and some trinomials. And we're going to be looking at two different methods. One method is the FOIL method, which some of you might have already seen before, and the other one is the box method, which some of you might have seen also. So it's two different methods. You can choose whichever one you want to look at. There are benefits to doing one over the other, but it's all kind of a personal preference for it. Okay, so first off is our FOIL. So what FOIL stands for is it stands for first, outer, inner, last. Okay, and that's what you're multiplying. So when you're multiplying, you multiply the first terms of each. Okay, and then you multiply the outside terms of each. Then you multiply the inside terms of each, and then you multiply the last terms of each. And that's what FOIL stands for, first, outer, inner, last. You multiply them all together, and then you add them. So you see here we have x times x, which is x squared, 3 times x, which is 3x, 2 times x, which is 2x, and 3 times 2, which is 6. And then you combine like terms here. The x squared is all by itself. 3x and the 2x can be combined to make it 5x, and then you have the 6. Okay, so everything can be combined, and you get it down, and you end up with a trinomial. Okay, so a lot of these that you're going to be multiplying together, you end up with a trinomial. Sometimes you won't, but that is the FOIL method. So FOIL is first, outer, inner, last. That's one method of doing it. Okay, so if we look at these, okay, and if we want to FOIL them, okay, I'm going to give you guys you can pause the video, take a minute to FOIL these two problems. Okay, so with that first one, after you FOILed it out, you should end up with a 12h squared plus 4h minus 21. So again, you multiply the first together, then you multiply the outsides together, then the insides, and the last. Okay, and this is basically just doing the distributive property just with multiple parts. Okay, the second one, you should end up with a 20m squared plus 11m minus 2. Okay, and again, FOIL it all the way through, and you end up with your number. 5m times 8m, 5m times negative 1, 2 times 8m, 2 times negative 1. And you get your answer. Okay. Okay, so that is FOILing with that. Now, when you're FOILing a binomial and a trinomial, what you're going to do is you're going to take, it's not going to be FOIL anymore because you don't just have first, outer, inner, last. What you're going to do is you're, again, distributing. You multiply this first term to every single one, and you multiply the last term to every single one. So you end up doing 6 multiplications instead of only 4 like the previous one. So you end up doing 6 multiplications, and you'd end up with this. And as you see, you end up with a trinomial because n times n squared, 6n times 2n squared, gets you 12n to the third. Okay, and that ends up with your new function. Okay, so you got to go first, outer, inner, last, or not first, outer, but you got to multiply the first term by all of them, last term by all of them. Okay. Now, when you get to those binomial trinomials, or trinomial times a trinomial, it gets a little difficult because you might lose place of it. So that's why we have what's called the box method. So the box method is a way to help you organize your data so that it's a little easier for you. Okay, so when you're dealing with the box method, you're basically making a box, and one column, or the top row, is going to be one of your binomials, and your other binomial is going to be one column along the side. And what you're going to do is you're going to multiply each side of the boxes together, and you're finding the area of each box. X times x is what? X squared. X times 8 is what? 8x. negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times 8 is negative 72. So what's happening here is that we're multiplying these numbers together, whatever's in each column. Okay. And when we do that, we end up with our new numbers. Now you take all those numbers and you write them out and you simplify them. So the x squared, there's only one x squared, so you write the x squared down. These x's end up adding together. So when they added together, that's where you get your negative 1x. And then minus 72 because it's all by itself. Okay. So what you do is you're basically finding the area of each box and then combining your like terms. Okay. So now with the second one, again, you're going to do the same thing. Okay. You find the area of each box. Okay, and then you combine like terms. So when you multiply them together, 7x and 2x, you get 14x squared. 7x and negative 8 gets you negative 56x. Negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. And negative 8 times negative 6 gets you a positive 48. You're combining the x's, but nothing else. And then you end up with your answer. Alright, so now when you're dealing with a trinomial and a binomial, this is where the organization kind of makes it a little easier, because now you list out all your terms along the top and along the side, and then you find the area of each. So x squared times x, okay, x squared times x gets you x to the third power. X times 8x gets you 8x squared, and then negative 7 times x gets you a negative 7x. And then along the bottom, you end up with your 5x squared, you get 40x, and then a negative 35. Okay, so now I want you to take a second, I want you to simplify this and see what you get. Okay, so when we simplify them, you see that the x squareds end up coming together and the x's. So how this is set up, you see how it's kind of going diagonal and you're combining them that way. So you'd add those together, you're left with x cubed plus 13x squared plus 33x minus 35. Okay. So that's multiplying the binomial trinomial using the box method. Okay. All right, so that's it for the this section. So your homework in this section is obviously section 3. Okay, and it's all multiplying using the distributive property. You can use either FOIL or the box method, whichever one you enjoy more. Okay, it is all a personal preference. Either way, you will get the exact same answers.